Bubblegum. Arlo. You know, ever since he had his little Metroid Prime 4 meltdown a month or two ago, I gotta admit, I've really been enjoying his content. It gives me a bit of nostalgia for the good old days where he would unnecessarily hate about every little detail in relation to a Nintendo title. And for a moment there, especially through most of 2025, he became a little bit too much of a puppet for Nintendo. But I think it was very clear that he would inevitably be making a comeback. After all, I am the yang to his yin. What I feel, he feels. And when I grift, he smiles. At first I thought he would just be making a couple of videos being critical because it was the breaking news and what everybody wanted to talk about. But he's kind of pushing the limits a little bit. If I didn't know any better, I might start confusing the two of us. After all, many people have always asked if I am Arlo. But given the nature of some of his more recent videos, perhaps they should be asking if instead Arlo is me. But it goes beyond some of the similarities in our videos. The absolute meltdown from the Nintendo fandom has made it kind of hilarious. When I first noticed Arlo starting to revert back to his open-minded self, I stated that the fanboys would be soon losing him. I didn't think it would last all that long, but I had a feeling, one that feels like it is up your backside and controlling you like a puppet. Yeah, sorry, that got a little weird. Anyway, yeah, so I made a video a month and a half ago, I don't remember, stating that the Nintendo fanboys would be losing Arlo. And ooh, let me tell you just how much they did not like that statement. And believe it or not, there's actually layers to this hatred. It's not really that simple. First, the very devoted and eloquent Nintendo fandom is getting a little upset at this blue furry man for daring to criticize Nintendo's poor sales in the holiday, suggesting that he might be purposefully being ignorant. And this is unplanned, but I just noticed that this post actually cussed me out, so that's kind of funny. That was... I love these Nintendo Redditors. They're always a good time. Back to focusing. Okay, so first, they're very critical of Arlo because he's being critical of Nintendo, suggesting that he might be purposely being ignorant, playing dumb, because he was stating facts about how terrible the Switch 2 sales have been. Because now, not only are they starting to hate Arlo because he is hating on Nintendo, but they have been hating on me because I am in support of Arlo's criticisms against Nintendo. This is like hateception. They're hating on the hater for hating on the hater for hating. But in fairness, I don't quite think you could blame me for suggesting that Arlo might be rejoining us on the good side in the good fight. Team Grifters Unite. These are the titles of his last few videos. Nintendo's stock value has dropped dramatically. That's a Nintending video, thank you very much. Nintendo needs to do better in 2026. See, if he was being the regular Arlo that we've seen through most of 2025, he would have said Nintendo just had a perfect 2025 and it's the fastest selling console in the world. You guys can't see, but when I was saying that, I was shaking my head side to side the way he does in his videos. But it's over on Topic Arlo, where he makes the big bucks. Pokemon's very first LEGO sets are shocking, and he's worried about the Nintendo price, because we all know the best way to complain about Nintendo is to talk about the price. We have more info on Nintendo's disappointing holiday season. Come on, bro. How many videos can you make about a disappointing holiday season and get away with it? You couldn't really see me pulling that off. And then, of course, dating back to last month when he said, oh, Nintendo's holiday is not going well, and the last good Nintendo deal just died, where the Switch 2 was on a tombstone. Those were the two videos that kind of triggered this Arlo renaissance about a month ago. Back when those videos came out and I suggested that Switch 2 fans would slowly be losing Arlo, they all started to make comments on my video about how, unlike Arlo, I was just a grifter and didn't believe in what I was saying. And Arlo is not a grifter because he's fair. He's positive when he needs to be positive and negative when he needs to be negative. Which more or less tells me that the man goes with the flow. If the Switch 2 is selling well, he will be positive. And if it's doing bad, he will be negative. And negative he has been. The thing is about Arlo, he's like that mutual friend you have with an enemy. You both want him on your side because he's furry and cuddly and lovable. I mean, I know why I like him. He reminds me of me and I am a narcissist. But everyone knows whatever side Arlo lies on, that's the side that succeeds. Because Arlo knows better than the rest of us how to capitalize on both Nintendo's successes and failures. See, the White Knights, they're screwed right now. They're not making any money. But the haters, oh, we're eating well. And both of us think that Arlo is on our side, and both of us learned from Arlo. He's just that good at what he does. And quite frankly, many consider him to be off limits. So in the Nintendo White Knighting world, they're not gonna go after Arlo because you'll just alienate the entirety of your pro-Nintendo viewer base, because they love Arlo. But the thing is, in the grifter world, it's a bit funnier. We don't really have those same standards that those White Knights do, and, well, we hate each other. If I knew that I could make money by throwing Fratanga or Frogmire under the bus, you bet your sweet story behind that I would make an hour-long video critical of their criticisms against Nintendo just for a few bucks. And likewise, they would do the same back at me, and I would expect them to. Quite frankly, the only reason we don't attack one another is because all of the videos that have been made about us over the past year have pretty much flopped. The Nintendo White Knights have been attacking us all year, and none of them have made a single dollar. They're losing at grifting, and it's confusing because hate sells. So maybe they just gotta be better at it. Or perhaps direct your hatred at somebody that's actually hated by the masses. Like Nintendo, for example. Honestly, Arlo's most recent video about the stock market was one of the funniest ones that I've watched. He legitimately has no idea what's going on there. Like, you can tell he's very uninformed about everything stocks, and he says it himself. I'm not insulting him. In his previous video before that, he also basically admitted that he doesn't understand the Circana data and the Famitsu data and all of the different ways we know that the Switch 2 is not selling well, and he anticipates that the Switch 2 numbers on the financial reports are the real numbers, even though those are just shipped numbers. Whereas all of these market research firms are providing actual sold-through numbers, those are numbers provided by retailers for what's being purchased. But he doesn't get that. And likewise, I don't think he understands the stocks. And it's very endearing to see him try to step into the fold here and talk about this stuff. Right, because like even for Arlo, that's a bit above what he's normally doing. Usually he's hating on the noise that Mario makes when he jumps, or something silly along those lines. But now that all of us have band together and started talking about Nintendo sales numbers and their stock numbers, and by all of us, I mean Nintendine started it a while back, it's funny to see him stepping out of his comfort zone. Just FYI, I called all of this after the last Direct. But obviously, that doesn't mean that I expect to get all the credit for Nintendo's failure. I'm far too small of a YouTuber to have that kind of impact. But if only there was a blue, furry man that we all love that does have that kind of impact. A man with a very nice voice and cadence to the rhythm in which he speaks, might I add. That would certainly turn heads and change the tides, although the tides of Nintendo's fortunes have already turned pretty dramatically, actually. But Arlo has proven time and time again that when the wave is heading in one direction, he can lead it all the way to oblivion. And likewise, when the wind blows in the opposite direction, he will be there leading it right back to the top of the fandom. But as long as we're headed in the same direction, oh my fluffy blue friend, I will always be there to gatekeep you and protect you. Because I, out of everybody else, knows how toxic the Nintendo fandom can be. Although you might know that a little better than I do after the last decade. But I'm here now for you, buddy. Keep doing what you're doing. You're the only Nintendo channel that can get away with it. There was either you or Beat-em-Ups, and he kind of shot himself in the foot last year when he decided to pretend he knew what was coming on the awful upcoming Nintendo Direct. So now it is on you, my puppet friend, to bring balance to the force. Remove those strings, pull that hand from your backside, and join us in the grift so that together we may all pay our rent. Adios, my marionettes.